some cadets from the Maritime Training Institute, engineering cadets, I believe, doing the GME course, and we have representation from the industry. Welcome you all to this Maritime Spectrum under the aegis of Vikist Bharat. India today stands on the threshold of becoming the world's third largest economy, and that too as early as 2028. That is what is being projected. This vision of Viksit Bharat, that is a developed India, aligns seamlessly with the forward-thinking policy of our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. With this perspective economic milestone in mind, we pose an essential question. If India is set to achieve a third place in the global economy, can the shipping industry be left behind? The answer is no. It is with this foresight and vision that we organize this seminar today, focusing on Viksit Bharat theme. Our agenda today encompasses the significant strides India is poised to take in the shipping, port development, and shipbuilding. We are privileged to host esteemed speakers with extensive experience in their fields who will share their insights on the trajectory in the port development and shipbuilding. They'll also discuss critical geopolitical challenges affecting the global trade, which is impacting the shipping. An example is the current situation in the Red Sea, essential maritime corridor, which is witnessing major shifts, where approximately 80% of the maritime traffic, which used to go through the Red Sea, is now taking a detour around the Cape. This diversion has disrupted the freight rates, increased transit times, and destabilized global trade. India's shipbuilding industry, in comparison to the established leaders like Japan, China, Korea, Europe, we still remain in a very nascent stage. This gap, however, presents immense opportunities, immense potential for growth and innovation. Today, we will delve into the future of shipbuilding in India, an industry with the capacity to shape the nation's coming decade. Like they say, the next decades belong to India. Shipping development hinges on robust infrastructure. Our speakers today will also address the development of one of India's largest coastal ports, the project anticipated to reshape the global trade routes and bolster India's maritime standing. A discussion on maritime growth would be incomplete without the IMO, the International Maritime Organization. India's influence within the IMO is expanding significantly. Compared to a single voice a few years ago, today our representation has grown to encompass a couple of dozen Indian representatives at the IMO, and India is now showing the presence. In the latter half of the day, we are honored to have distinguished leaders who have actually visited the IMO, or some of them have been visiting in the past as well, who will discuss India's evolving role within the IMO, reinforcing our commitment to the safety, security, and environmental stewardship of international shipping. So let's take this opportunity to gain insights, learn from each other, and look forward to a truly developed maritime sector for developed India. So with that, we commence our seminar today. To start with, may I invite our Master, Captain, Master Chairman of CMMI, Captain M.D. Bhasin, to the desk, please. Deputy Master, Captain Mohan Naik, sir, can you please come to the desk? And then we have our Secretary General, Captain Vivek Bhandarkar. Sir, please. Before we proceed further, I would like our Master to give a welcome speech to the audience. Sir.
Good morning. Thanks, Captain Pradhan. He is our chairman of the seminar committee, and he has put in a nutshell the whole details of the way the committee thought about the theme. He dwelled into the various aspects what as a shipping will be doing. My role is just to tell you about CMMI as I represent, and as you see over there, Vikist Bharat. How does Vikist Bharat came into this? I will speak a bit about it also. First, CMMI. The company of masterminds of India. I am also using technology. Before I used to carry papers. Now my daughter says read from the mobile. So we are getting sustainable. The CMI was established in 1957, a professional body of nautical officers and master mariners. It has a very great history and heritage. What was the objective? That it both in the country and internationally, our members to organize and promote knowledge, tradition and standards of mercantile marine. That is the main objective of a company of masterminders of India. We have 4,000 members and 21 chapters in India and around the globe. We have 3 international chapters, namely Dubai, Hong Kong and Singapore. Very soon, hopefully within this term of the court, by next year we will be having a UK chapter also of the CMMI, and we are taking a lot of help from the people sitting here. Now, Vikist Bharat. I would like to talk about Vikist Bharat. What is Vikist Bharat? You may be hearing it on the social media or on the newspapers, but how does it came into? What is the brain behind Vikist Bharat? Last year, our Prime Minister announced Vikist Bharat theme, and he said by 2047, I repeat, by 2047, India should be a developed nation. That was the simple line given by the Prime Minister. And the first meeting of it took place on the 11th of December 2023, where the governors across India and a lot of political leaders and professionals were called on the same stage. Because he said this theme or this thought process cannot go along without the professionals, without the people who are not in the front, like in the political masses, but they are the people working behind, and that is you, that is all of us. And that's what he started. And then he gave a theme. Every year there will be a theme of Vikist Bharat. What is this year? 24. So I really congratulate our seminar committee that they thought about this. This year they say, don't only look at education. Education is one thing. Look at the holistic approach of the education. Where do you think we should do? Not only in the skill development, not only getting degrees, but making the people together to increase the social, environment and emotional progress of each human being. That was the concept. After that concept finished last year, and many meetings have taken place, and I'm really proud that the company of masterminders have also taken this thing in their own hands. And you'll be surprised, already whether it is CMMI, whether it is our professional body, IMEI or Nautical Institute or Naval Architect or any other body, we are already working towards Viksit Bharat. Captain Pradhan said rightly, when you talk about Viksit Bharat, shipping cannot be left away. Maybe the young students sitting there or our sailing officer, when I was sailing, I never had the idea what is going behind. Nobody told us. That time, just get your COC of the higher grade pass, sail, come back home. But when you are in land, working, hand-holding, be a part of a policy making for the future, you understand the deep thinking behind it. What do we do? What does the shipping do? We all know sustainability. Sustainability, the word sustainability may be many years old in the dictionary, but in actually a fact, it came, I would say, around 10 to 15 years back. But more focused now. It has just come on the focus. Every company is talking about in their manual sustainability. Every organization, every school is talking about sustainability. When I was in school, nobody taught me anything about plastic is bad. Nobody told me anything about water conservation. And I am telling you the truth. Today, our children come home and they tell us, Papa, why are you keeping the light on when you are not sitting in the room? They go to our societies, they go to the various places, they talk about energy efficiency. Why it has come about? So we should feel proud about the change in the technology, change in our education system and the way our children are growing up. One of our senior colleague, very close friend of mine, we have sailed together as cadets and as officers. He gave me a very good kind of a talk that how after his daughter-in-law, his son got married, daughter-in-law came home, how the things changed at home. Before, okay, everything is going, and today I met Annie, Captain Pradhan's daughter-in-law, so that's good for you. She told my friend, Papa, you every morning you are getting up and you are reading a newspaper. What news you read, I get it 12 hours before. That is the future generation. They get everything on their mobile. Everything is available to them before it reaches our eyes. And we have never gone through that stage. But do you sit only with the newspaper or you will change yourself to get the latest news on the social media? That is up to you. Change is in your hand. We might bring it, concept we might bring, but to affect it, it is in your hand. A lot of nautical officers are also sitting here, you know, when the Actis came and the paper charts were going, honestly I was not in favor. You may think what I am talking, running a company and I am talking like this, but actually I was thinking, how will it work? And that is the something we are carrying a baggage in our mind. Okay, we can't do it. How will it work? And then somebody young, one very young thought of saying, my company only, MSc, he says, sir, when you gave your board exam, with my time it was 11th was the last, you know, now it is 12th. When you go for the exam, you do all the calculations, there is a logarithm table. There is a logarithm table, we used to carry. Even in our COC, Captain Shukla is sitting here, nautical officer, Captain Neil Joseph, Jindal, all are sitting from DG. We used to carry there also tabulation tables. Today, in the 12th class exam, the children are allowed to take a calculator, even scientific calculator. They don't want you to spend time looking at the readings in the paper. They want you to know how to solve the problem. That is where the concept came objective. One question, 4 answers, tick 1. The young generation is actually already advanced, much more than us. It is up to us that how we find a balance between the young and us old. And it is a very thin line between it. That is Viksit Bharat. That is Viksit Bharat for you. I will not take much time because our eminent chief guest sir is here. I mean, we all are looking forward to listening to Shri Rajeeva Sinha ji. Just to let you know that professional body CMMI has taken up this project, and all the technical things that Captain Pradhan has already spoken, and you will be hearing the speaker. Our role as each individual, each organization is also to support and contribute toward Viksit Bharat. It is your own India. Last thing, there will be some talks on the STCW. Many people sitting here have already attended that and have been attending in IMO. You know, STCW is being revised. In 2028, there will be a new amendments to STCW. You must be having STCW now, which says Manila Amendments. We are all trying together, all of us, including you, all of you, that this year, this time, whenever the amendments come in 2028, it should be known as India Amendments or Mumbai Amendments. That should be the thinking, that should be the scope, and that we cannot do one or two people. It should be all holistic approach together. That's the way we are looking at it. Viksit Bharat, Light and Spectrum, from company of Mastermind of India. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Captain Bhasin. Now, I request all our three office bearers to welcome our chief guest, Shri Rajeeva Sinha ji. Rajeev Sinha started his professional career as an Indian Administrative Service Officer in the year 1976 at Nashik district of Maharashtra. But his maritime voyage began in February 1992 when he was posted as a Senior Deputy Director General of Shipping in the office of the DG Shipping Jahaj Bhavan at Bharat State. Since then, he has never left the marine sector, partly by his own efforts to stick to the marine sector and partly by luck, because in government, no one has a control over where you get posted. From DG Shipping to the Commissioner of Water Transport and then to the Chief Executive Officer of Maharashtra Maritime Board, he formulated the policy of private sector participation in development of non-major ports, the first in the country following liberalization of Indian economy as a part of the economic reforms in the year 1991. The establishment of MMB in February 1997 was also the result of his initiative to speed up development of non-major ports. Consequently, first time in the country, global tenders were floated for development of 7 ports on the 920 km long coastline of Maharashtra. And a letter of intent was issued to P&O Ports Australia, a subsidiary of P&O London, to develop Vadhavan Port on the BOT basis, that is build, operate, transfer basis. Next, as deputy and thereafter the chairman of the Mumbai Port Trust, which is now known as the Mumbai Port Authority, he undertook major restructuring and reforms to improve the operational efficiency in the port's working. He decided to leave the IS and try to implement his knowledge of maritime sector into action by joining as a managing director of Pipavav Port in the year 2005, when APM Terminals and subsidiary of Maersk acquired the port. Finding the decision making very bureaucratic and feeling constraints in working, he quit and joined Adani Port and Special Economic Zone Limited as a whole-time director in June 2007 and worked with the company for 9 years. He brought about a major transformation in growth in the port development and expansion with new business opportunities. From the ranking of 9th in the cargo throughput in 2007, we all know Mundra Port today has become the first in India, with a first in the year 2014, exceeding 10 million tons throughput in a year. Adani Ports today is a global maritime player, but in 2007 it was just another operator on the sidelines. So once again he joined government in 2017 as an advisor in the JNPA with a mandate to develop Vadhavan Port as a major port on the Indian coast. Concurrently, While immersed in various assignments, Mr. Sinha acquired MSc in Shipping Management Commercial from the World Maritime University, Sweden, Malmo. He also became a member of the Institute of Chartered Brokers, London, and eventually got elevated to a fellow. He has done a diploma in port planning and management from the University of Louisiana, USA, and has attended advanced management program in Warden University of Pennsylvania, USA. Apart from this, he has also done LLB and MBA. I think I should stop here. There are too many things. Recently, he was decorated with the Lifetime Achievement Award in the annual Maritime and Logistics function in Mumbai. He has been a speaker at various international and national forums, and we are very happy and feel proud to have him here as a speaker with us. With that, let us set the tone for this seminar by lighting the lamp. Check. This one is fine. Something wrong with the audio. Sorry about that. May I now request our chief guest to come and address the audience.
Good morning to all of you. Thank you, Captain Pradhan, for a very nice and very laudatory introduction of mine. Well, my maritime journey continues. So once in shipping, as captains, they always remain in shipping, whether it is on ship or shore. Well, I never went to a ship excepting for once while in DG shipping from Calcutta to Chennai on a tanker just to have a feel. And I traveled in master's cabin, so I realized what luxuries are there. Thank you for that. And once again, I must thank the company of master mariners, Captain Bhasin, Captain Nayak, and particularly Captain Bhandarkar, who persuaded me to come and join you today. He has been very, very active, as I find him in various forums, so I could not just refuse his request, even though I have my brother at home So in any way, I am happy to be here with you. And also in the present environment, where our country is now moving very fast over last decade or so for getting its place in the world which we occupied 150 to 200 years back. Many of you would be surprised to know that then India was the most prosperous, rich economy in the world before Britishers came to India. Industrial revolution had not taken place in UK. We had so many trades required by society that no other country had in their own country or in their own areas. India was first, China was second. Now we are progressing towards that situation where by 2075 we may become #1 economy of the world, which we had 150 years back before the Britishers came and started ruling us. Then they exploited, as it happens. A colonial power exploits the subjects for their own benefit. The East India Company, it was not the government which started running our country. It was East India Company, a company of shareholders which came for trading in India. At the time, 1617 or so, when Jahangir was the king, 1600s, I'm mistaking the year maybe, but sometime in the 1600s. And then subsequently, after the First War of Independence, in 1857, the British government took over the company and then became the sovereign power to run the country. So imagine, the country till 1857 was run by a shareholding company called East India Company. So they exploited to the full. After the British took over, some changes took place and some institutions developed. We developed university. They also brought about judicial system, which we have till today. So shipping law mostly is the British law even today. Admiralty law completely comes from UK. So we will get the position which we once occupied in next maybe 50 years. But immediately, in next 4 to 5 years, by 2030, we are lucky if it happens early in 2028, we are slated to become third richest or biggest economy in the world. That way, all the European powers, G7, what we know, 5 of them will be left behind. Only what will remain is US, and which is not part of G7, China. So that's the situation. Now, we have aspirations. Everybody, every country, every individual has aspirations. We too have our aspirations to become a bigger economy in a short term. That is to occupy the position of third largest economy by 2020 and to become a developed country by 2027, which means 23 years from now. That is Viksit Bharat, which means developed country. Today we are put under the nomenclature of developing country, emerging economy, which puts Tom, Dick, Harry, sundry, everyone. Even the failed countries of Africa like Congo or Sudan are also part of emerging and developing country. So it does not give any solace if we are part of emerging economy or developing country. In a horse race you find there is winner and thereafter is runners up, and subsequently the column says they also ran. So today we are also taken as they also ran, the countries which are running. So we hope to leave this and come in runners up by 2030 and come to become winner by 2047. Now what is the Viksit Bharat? Now Viksit Bharat, the slogan was given in the year 24, budget of 2024 by Mrs. Sitaraman in a budget speech in the parliament. It's the vision of the government to make India a developed country, as I said, by 2027. Now, there are some components of Viksit Bharat. Those components will define where we should be moving, which direction we should be moving in order to achieve the objective of Viksit Bharat. We have developed, no doubt, but as you understand, as you will know by your experience, reaching certain level of competence is not too difficult. But reaching the top level of competence is not easy. It requires something more than the mere knowledge. And when it requires the whole country to be together, move in that direction, the task is daunting. The task is challenging. And knowing our country with so many diversity of language, culture, script, thinking, philosophy, caste, community, aspirations, differences, the task becomes more daunting. If one is in, say, a country like Vietnam, task becomes easier. The country is homogeneous. If you are, say, in a country like China, task is easier. Most of the China is one Chinese, different scripts, but the culture remains dominant Chinese, Mandarin as they say. So what are the elements of this Viksit Bharat as defined by government to which as a country we are aspiring to reach? One is productivity and resilience in agriculture. India continues to be still an agriculture country at 60 to 65% of manpower even today is involved in agriculture. Now as you know, agriculture only in few areas, geographical areas, is a full-time activity. In most of the country, it is part-time activity, seasonal activity, which leads to a lot of unemployment and people sitting idle. Now, idleness does not create any wealth, and country must generate wealth to become rich. And for creating wealth, you need opportunities. So one is to create more opportunities in agriculture. I will not get into details of that because of limitation of time. One can have lot of issues there. Second is employment and skilling, about which Captain Bhasin pointed out before me. Goes without saying that it's necessary for a country and more so for a person. Why does a person get study or acquire skill? Idea is to stand on his own feet And how does he stand on his own feet? That is by doing some gainful activity which pays him in return. So, an employment and skilling comes by doing the kind of work which society needs. One can become a very good in certain 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, but unless he does not acquire any skill, that kind of education is of little value. That's why we have various professional courses, all types. Go to any field where people get admitted and acquire those skills and competencies which allows them to have a gainful employment and stand on their own feet. In this way, they do good to themselves. By generating wealth, they add to the wealth of the country. And that adds to the GDP, gross domestic product. The gross domestic product is sum total of all goods and services produced in the country, which includes all the wages, all the production, all the manufacturing activity and all that. So you will see that GDP itself shows how much the country is involved in doing gainful activities and generating wealth, money. So, employment and skilling is the second part. Third is inclusive human resource development and social justice. This is very difficult task in our country where you have so much of division still based on caste, the areas, the community, the region. Castes are trying to divide now into subcastes. Instead of integration, they are trying to divide politically, of course, into subcastes of castes. So instead of moving towards a positive direction, we are going towards negative direction, which is because of the intention to capture their own community for the purposes of getting some political post or contesting elections and holding to some kind of authority. Why people fight so much in politics? Because that gives them power, authority. And most of the time this power and authority is abused, which does not add to GDP, which sucks GDP out. Because without adding into the productive resources, the person concerned sucks the resources. So he is not adding to GDP, he is in a matter of mitigating the richness of the country by not giving any output but just taking inputs. You see, input has to have relation with output. If input is less, output is more, the best. But if input is there and output is not there, then it's a parasite situation. The fourth part is manufacturing in services, goes without saying. This will provide employment and generation of wealth. Urban development. See, today India is about 31% urban population. The developing countries have 61 to 70%. And why people come to urban areas? Because of the better facilities, better education, better health, employment opportunities, better infrastructure, better growth. So, urbanization is a fact of life. It is bound to take place. It's a human tendency. People don't like to live in villages. Good education brings them out. Having come out, having seen the facilities, seen the environment, seen the growth, they don't like to go back to the village because that kind of situation, opportunities don't obtain. 50 years back, those who went abroad from India for studies almost never came back because they found India was too backward in those times. Now situation is changing. Those who have gone back earlier are coming back because the country is prospering. It is giving better environment for growth, opportunities. It is competing with the best in certain pockets. So urbanization has to be controlled, monitored, and encouraged in a manner that you don't have only mega cities like Bombay or Mumbai, like Delhi or Bangalore. We would have many more cities, not mega cities, but big enough, so that the kind of infrastructure which is available in mega cities are also available there, so that people don't congregate only in an area and make it bigger and bigger, which makes providing all the facilities difficult. Commuting becomes, first example is commuting. It becomes very difficult in metropolitan towns to go to place of work or education or hospital because of the large areas to cover. And thereby also social facilities like playground, like entertainment centers, etc. also do not keep pace with that rapid urbanization. So idea is to dissipate, spread it out. So that is also one task. So while considering yourself, young people whom I find they are there, they should think of places, not just Bombay, not just Delhi, but other places, big towns, where the opportunity lies for development and growth. Because the competition in those places will be far less as compared to big metropolitan cities. The other is, the sixth part of this Viksit Bharat is energy security. Today we are consuming electricity, power, which runs almost everything now compared to earlier days. Our life is so much dependent on power. From the 24 hours of the time, we are under glare of power, electricity, without which we just can't function. So there we have to keep, unless we keep pace with the requirement of the country in terms of power, we would be falling behind. Today, whatever we are producing in gigawatt terms, we need to double it up in next 5-6 years, so that we are able to meet all power requirements. More and more power is required. Yes, I will take care. So, energy security is one. Then comes infrastructure, it goes without saying, rail, road, airports, hospitals, schools, universities, playing grounds, stadiums. All these are part of infrastructure. Infrastructure has two parts, physical and social. So both are important. Education, health becomes part of social. The physical infrastructure becomes road, airport, etc. Another is innovation, research and development. We are far behind in this because this does not pay immediately. Investment has to be made in innovation, research and development, and the results are seen many years later on when the ideas get implemented. And every research and development does not yield result also. There are high failure rates. That is the reason we have less of money, less of wealth. We have not been investing more in research, and that is where developed countries have invested more, and that's why most of the Nobel laureates in physics, chemistry, medicine, etc., you find all coming from developed countries' research centers, not from India. There are many Indians who are Nobel laureates, but they are all settled abroad, working in research institutions and universities. We don't have that kind of facility. Then comes ninth is, that's the last of this Viksit Bharat segments. Next is next generation reforms. Reforms is something we have to keep doing continuously in order to upgrade ourselves and become more effective and efficient, more dynamic. Just now, I think we heard the examples of calculators are no more, calculators are allowed everywhere because it saves time. Yes, when I appeared for my MBA, I was allowed calculator. That was in '93 in Bombay University. It made my life so easy because I used to find very difficult in calculations. It used to take a long time. I would miss questions. So because of this, I was able to clear my MBA. Otherwise, perhaps I would not have cleared my MBA. It used to be difficult. Now, all this has to come through effort of everyone, including the shipping or port community. Why shipping and port community in particular? Because whatever wealth, etc. is generated in the country, ultimately gets translated or transformed into import and export trade. If you manufacture and you are not able to sell, wealth will not get generated. And you are producing to sell and make money, not to keep in godowns. So there comes trade. One more point which I must add. 4 minutes. So I must add, in 2002 we had a slogan, if you remember, starting from Kerala, Incredible India. That was promoting tourism. Now in terms of 2027, we have to say Inevitable India. We have to believe in Inevitable India. The incredible to inevitable has to be there, even though task is daunting. But as I said, there are challenges which we have to come. Challenges are fractious politics of our country. I mean, one reason why last 10 years we developed very fast was because fractious politics was limited at national level. You know, long back, Plato was a philosopher in Greece. He wrote a book called Republic. But he never supported republic. He supported monarchy. He said, why? People asked him why. And he was in 3rd, 4th century BC. At the time Gautam Buddha was there in India, around that time. And he said, it's better, I think it's better to serve under one lion than thousands of jackals. He said, jackals waste a lot, eat less but they waste a lot. They said, but lion can kill you. He said, yes, that's a danger. Lion can kill anyone. But once lion kills somebody, its full stomach is full, it does not do anything. So it's better to lose some to gain more. In case of democracy, you don't gain because so many people are only busy in looting the country. So fractious politics is a big danger in our country. Regional preferences, I need hardly talk about this. North to south, every state has its own agenda. Indisciplined spending, recently everyone calls it rowdy. Rowdy, which is being announced left, right and center to remain in power. And this all is based on huge deficit financing. Deficit is nothing. You earn less and spend more. If we do in our private life, you become bankrupt. But a government never becomes bankrupt because it can cheat from the people of others, other people, pockets. So that is indisciplined, indiscriminate spending. Now, I was on how our maritime sector can add to, I'll take 2 minutes more, Captain Pradhan. How maritime sector can help in this Viksit Bharat. The grand design, but we can help if we see the whole global scenario. Maritime seaborne trade, in which master mariners and other officers are deeply engaged and involved as a profession, as a business or otherwise. Total cargo handled in seaborne trade is 11 billion tons, which is increasing every year. It has now reached the pre-COVID level. In COVID there was a sharp downturn, so it has reached that. Out of which 4.6 billion tons of seaborne cargo is within Asia. You can see the growth. How much in Asia, fueled by China and India, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Japan, South Korea, the trade has picked up. It will be of interest to you. In 2021, more than half of global seaborne cargo in 2021 used to be in 1970, I'm sorry for the miss. In 1970, more than half of global seaborne cargo was tanker cargo. See how much every country was dependent on fossil fuel. It was chemical cargo, basically crude, petroleum products and chemicals. But in 2021, 50 years, things have changed. Now more than half of global seaborne trade is dry cargo, including bulk and cargo shipped in containers. That's a massive change. The reason being, pipelines have been made where the crude is pushed from one country to 5-6 countries separately, huge pipelines. We are developing economies, growth is 8% overall in terms of cargo. In India, we are handling in seaborne trade 1.4 billion tons. 1.4 billion tons. 95% of this is by volume and 70% is in value. So high value cargo, obviously for various reasons, uses air transport. So incidentally, air cargo also is increasing throughout the world because the high value cargo transportation, carriage has also increased. Earlier high value cargo was limited. It used to be gem, jewelry and all, but now high value cargo is of different types altogether. And chartered planes, cargo planes are used for that. Let's see the global workforce, seaborne workforce, in which this master mariners and the shipping business would be deeply involved and interested. Insofar as India is concerned, 2 years back, the data is 2 years back, pardon me, I could not get the data recent one. India has 1,51,840 ratings. 1,51,840 ratings. And 98,231 officers. This is 2 years back data. It may have improved slightly. But of a global workforce on shipping is to the extent of around 50% consists of crew from Philippines, Russia, China, India and Indonesia. These 5 countries. About 50%, slightly less than 50%. So here, this is linked, the skill development, which is part of Viksit Bharat, is linked to the development of skill, competencies in various professions, various types of profession in shipping, which is engineering side, machine side and the navigation side. There we have a very big scope to progress and provide that kind of manpower around the world. We are demographically young nation. I don't think any more European Western countries will be providing that kind of manpower which is required to begin with in shipping. In shipping, one has to continuously grow and acquire competencies to become master. One cannot become master by just acquiring some qualification sitting on the desk or in the university or in the institution. One has to continuously work, cross the bar of competencies, examinations, acquire those skills and go. Those kind of demography is not just available in these European and developed countries. So there we have a big scope of entry and provide those skills which is required for shipping as it is. As it is, the ships have become highly automated and also now artificial intelligence etc. will be used. So manpower that would be required has to be highly qualified, highly competent and skilled. For that we need to develop those kind of institutions in our own country which is able to provide these competencies, these skills to the people. Otherwise, we will produce what we think is adequate because of our not getting the exposure and acquiring those kind of knowledge and imparting that which is required in the changing environment. Even though people are trained, they may not be in a position to get the employment because the requirement of the jobs have changed. So, if you remember in our earlier school days, there has to be kadam tal, which means standing in one place and moving your feet. Now, days of kadam tal is over. Kadam tal is not going to lead anywhere. One has to move. So we have to keep that in mind that unless we develop that kind of skill in our own system, we are not going to make difference to our own lot and add in India becoming Viksit Bharat. The developed countries became developed 15, 20, 30, 40 years back. And they have continued to be in that, but they are declining now because they don't have that kind of base. Ultimately require a big base. It's a pyramid. If base is not strong, big enough, wide enough, the superstructure becomes weak. And that's what is happening in these developed countries. Their base number of people, their growth rate is lower than the requirement. Death rate is higher, birth rate is lower. So they are not adding a new population and young people. And therefore you find large scale immigration from India to those countries for people who do lower level of skills, like welder, like electrician, like AC mechanic, driver. Go to even America, 50% of the cab drivers are from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh and others. They would speak Hindi to you. Go to Gulf, 70-80% of the workforce is from these countries. So, we have scope, we have an opportunity which we have to use to achieve what I am calling inevitable India 2047, which will be where we need to be to get our place which we had 150, 200 years back as number one, the richest economy in the world. It's a challenging task, but if we educated people think alike, think above our differences of caste, community, the region, then we have certainly a good chance. Internal fighting is the worst. Families are ruined by internal fighting. A country can also be ruined by internal fightings. See, because of internal fighting, foreigners ruled us over large 200, 300 years. Because of internal fighting among us. So that can ruin again this country. The force is towards development. But the speed of that will be reduced if we don't improve in terms of our mindset that we have to be there as a developed country, Viksit Bharat, by 2047. I think Captain Pradhan will remind me. Before that, I should end my short interaction with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I kept on indicating to him, that the time is, we are running short of time. But actually, if you ask me, I didn't want him to stop because the kind of knowledge he has been sharing with us is excellent. And sir, we will not let you go. He's going to be a speaker in the next session. So let's have a coffee break. We will meet again at 11:15. So it's a short networking break. 11:15 we'll start our technical sessions. Thank you very much.